Lost in Tragedy, the story of Leni Riefenstahl.
In 1932, German film producer Leni Riefenstahl began pioneering in the cinematic world with her groundbreaking filming and editing triumphs in the motion picture industry. The artistic prowess of her films attracted the attention of Adolf Hitler, who compelled her to create propaganda, ultimately defining her by her association with the Nazi Party and tragically ending her career. Today, her name is solely remembered as synonymous with Nazi propaganda and not for her triumphant cinematic innovations that still impact both the political and entertainment industries.
Born in Berlin, Germany on August 22, 1902, Leni Riefenstahl started dancing and acting at a young age. In 1924, after many years of training, she began acting on stage and starred in her first film, The Mountain of Destiny. Soon after becoming an actress, Riefenstahl wrote, "Almost against my will, I was diverted more and more to the actual process of filmmaking. At first, I resisted. I was an actress. But now, I couldn't help seeing everything with the filmmaker's eyes. I longed more and more to create something of my own."
8 years later, in 1932, Leni Riefenstahl was given the opportunity to not only act in, but also direct, produce, and film the fantasy motion picture The Blue Light. Riefenstahl was completely caught off guard when the Führer, Adolf Hitler, attended the premiere of The Blue Light. Because Hitler became an instant admirer of Riefenstahl's artistic talent shown in the film, he persuaded Riefenstahl to film a documentary of the National Socialist Party rally in Nuremberg. Riefenstahl, being a woman in a field dominated by men, had to agree, as filming for one of the most powerful people at the time was an opportunity that would change her directing career and one that she couldn't miss.
During their first official meeting, Hitler found Riefenstahl's copy of his autobiography, Mein Kampf, which outlines his political ideology. In her memoir, Riefenstahl recalled, "I noticed that Hitler was glancing through a book on my desk. I saw that it was Mein Kampf. I had jotted such comments in the margins as untrue, wrong, mistaken. This is interesting," he said. "You're a sharp critic, but then we're dealing with an artist." Hitler, who clearly dismissed Riefenstahl's political beliefs, only sought to work with her for her artistry, as that was all that concerned him. Similarly, while working for Hitler, Riefenstahl was forced to disregard her personal opinions about the ideals of the Nazi Party and therefore work against her beliefs as a cinematographer. As she had previously stated in regard to the art of filmmaking, "I do not have the ability. I have specific ideas of what I could do, but if I had to do something that I don't have a feel for, I would fail miserably." However, Leni Riefenstahl proceeded to film The Victory of Faith, in which she showed Adolf Hitler as a man of the people and how people supported their Führer.
But because of the fact that Riefenstahl had to make a film out of a story that she didn't agree with, when Victory of Faith was released, both Hitler and Riefenstahl were unsatisfied with the film. Hitler because he disliked the message portrayed by the film, and Riefenstahl because she felt that the film hadn't met her high artistic standards. Additionally, while Riefenstahl was filming Victory of Faith, there were Nazis who didn't want her to make the film and didn't want her to be credited, which greatly impacted her ability to produce a propaganda film that pleased Hitler.
Due to Hitler's dissatisfaction with Victory of Faith, Riefenstahl was forced to remake the film, to which she agreed because of her desire for perfection in her work. Consequently, Hitler and Riefenstahl were both pleased with the new film, Triumph of the Will, which focused on the incidents of the 1934 Nazi Party Congress in Nuremberg, portraying the German public's support for their Führer. It soon became one of the greatest propaganda films in history for the breathtaking artistic cinematography it showcased and how it demonstrates the power of the image to represent the historical world at the same moment as it participates in the construction of the historical world itself. Even those opposed to Germany applauded Riefenstahl for her great work of art, looking at the film not from a propagandist perspective, but as an artistic masterpiece.
In addition, Riefenstahl's filming genius was particularly displayed in Olympia, one of her later films about the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Although Riefenstahl was making the film for Hitler as another piece of propaganda, she followed her artistic passion more than the directions of others, and even disobeyed direct orders from him in order to create content that she thought would enhance the film artistically. While Hitler's focus was to display the victories of Germans during the Olympic Games to illustrate Germany's supremacy, Riefenstahl found that filming the victories of everyone was what really told the story of the Olympics, and focused parts of the film on the victories of Jesse Owens, an American track and field athlete. This decision was completely rejected by Hitler and his propaganda minister, Joseph Goebbels, but due to her strong will and passion for the arts, Riefenstahl used non-German athletes in the film anyway. With her persistence and artistic genius, Olympia went down in history, both as the film that shaped the way the 1936 Olympics were viewed and as brilliant cinematography.
Furthermore, Olympia, being one of the first films of the Olympics, brought forth several techniques that future sporting events would be filmed and edited with. These included underwater filming, smash cuts, extreme close-ups, shooting from unusual angles, even from underneath the athlete, tracking shots from rails in the bleachers, and playing the video in slow motion to build suspense. The most iconic shot, where an athlete dives gracefully into the water, is packed with cinematic and editing techniques. Additionally, though Riefenstahl had contributed to all aspects of the movie industry, some of the most impactful of her techniques, which led to revolutionary advancements in the world of film, included the use of a moving camera and aerial photography. One of her biggest talents was editing, however. Having been a dancer, she had a great feeling for rhythm and movement. In the end, it was the way that Riefenstahl was able to narrate a compelling story through the medium of film that left others learning from her techniques, as the ideas that she introduced to the cinematic world still continue to appear in many modern-day movies worldwide.
In addition, Riefenstahl's pioneering in the art of filmmaking not only impacted the movie-making industry, but also later political use of cinematography. Many politicians have taken inspiration from Riefenstahl's wide-angle distance shots to shoot emotionally moving images of crowds that inspire political support. As a result, the way that Riefenstahl was able to capture a softer side of a leader in her films to gain the people's trust and support is still reflected in modern-day films of political candidates, where the candidates wish to portray themselves as having care for the people and being one with them all.
Despite the success of her films, and the many filming and editing techniques that Riefenstahl both created and used, most viewers did not approve of the intentions of her films, as the world soon learned of the horrors carried out by the Nazi Party. In 1945, after World War II ended, Riefenstahl was only thought of as a Nazi sympathizer and as Hitler's right-hand woman, disregarding her technique in the art of filmmaking and her triumphs in the film industry. Later, in January of 1946, having been put on trial and found guilty for her association with the Nazis, Riefenstahl had served a 4-year prison sentence and had all of her film materials confiscated, ending her filming career. This deprived her of recognition for her legacy in the film industry, and tragically, instead of being seen as the woman who changed the film industry forever, she is only remembered as a Nazi sympathizer. I suppose you could say that her tragedy was that she had great talent, but limited opportunities to use it. And so in order to be able to make the kinds of films she wanted to make, she used her talent to enhance the power of Hitler and the Nazi Party over the German people.
Leni Riefenstahl triumphed in the world of cinema with the artistic ways she told stories with film and the many techniques and innovations she created to enhance film. The opportunities presented to her allowed her to develop her techniques with the vast amount of equipment she had access to, leading to her triumphant successes in the film industry. However, because of her success in the filming of propaganda, her name is forever intertwined with that of a dictator who committed horrible crimes. These films that she made, although brilliant in cinematography, were controversial among viewers because of the topics they described.
Es ist so schrecklich, dass ich immerhin jetzt über ein halbes Jahrhundert gelitten habe. Und das wird auch nie aufhören, bis ich sterbe. Also das ist eine so wahnsinnige Bürde. Da ist das Wort zu wenig, das sagt zu wenig. Es tut mir leid. Das ist schon ein so großer Schatten in meinem Leben, dass ich, wie Sie vorhin sagten, der Tod für mich eigentlich eine Erlösung ist.
Instead of being credited for her artistic genius, Leni Riefenstahl's name and legacy are to this day lost in tragedy.
Leni Riefenstahl was a tragic way that her triumphs were forgotten, and her portrayal as a villain the price she deserved, or was she simply dismissed for taking the best given opportunity to further her career and advance the cinematic industry?